Hello, Jared.
Hi, Alicia.
Great to be back.
And a very warm welcome to all of you listening to Vibrations and Manifestations.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're stepping into an energy that I think a lot of us are really craving right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's that deep, quiet need to sort of wipe the slate clean. But maybe you feel that yearning and you don't actually know where the clearing work even begins.
I know exactly what you mean. We feel all this pressure, to jump straight into action, to build, to achieve.
Right.
But there's this crucial and I think often really overlooked pause point.
Yes.
It's that time where the calendar might tick over, but internally we know. We just recognize that we're standing at a threshold.
That's precisely our mission today. We're taking a deep dive into energetic release and preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And this deep dive is explicitly not about goal setting. It's not about forcing some better version of ourselves.
No.
And it's certainly not about urgency. We're focusing squarely on the necessary work, the quiet work that has to happen before any new creation or season can truly begin.
We have to honor that rhythm, endings. I mean, whether they mark the turn of a year or the end of a job or, the phasing out of a really deep life season.
Sure.
They have a way of finding us when we're genuinely ready for the shift.
So true.
We're just honoring that quiet pause where nothing needs to be forced.
And what we're exploring today really centers on this core idea from our sources, which is that clearing is preparation.
Yes.
It's the necessary prerequisite for spaciousness.
Yeah.
It is not a failure, and it is absolutely not a loss.
Not at all.
We're learning that what you choose not to carry forward is often as powerful, or maybe even more powerful, than what you desire to call in next.
And to frame this within a broader context, we just have to look to nature. We're synthesizing what the sources call winter clearing energy.
I love that phrase.
Right. Just think about the earth. In nature, growth always follows clearing.
Right.
The dead leaves have to fall, the branches have to rest, and all that energy has to pull inward into the soil just to gather strength.
So we're just applying that same principle.
Exactly, that ancient seasonal principle, but to our own internal landscape, to our emotional systems.
So we're setting a really warm, non-pressured tone here. This deep dive is all about emotional relief. It's about surrendering outdated rules or expectations or even those protective identities that they don't serve us anymore. We are moving from heavy to spacious together.
I think that's a perfect way to put it.
I find that when we talk about energetic weight, it can sound so abstract.
Yeah, it really can.
It conjures these images of complicated multi-step rituals.
Right.
But the truth is, release doesn't always come in some dramatic rite of passage. Sometimes it just shows up in these ordinary, totally relatable human moments.
And that's where we should start.
Yeah, we want to start here to make this idea of energetic weight feel really, really concrete.
Because the weight we carry is, it's often hidden in plain sight. It's tucked into the small decisions, the habits, the little assumptions we make and enact every single day.
That's so true.
And identifying those small moments of release can be so much more impactful than, searching for one huge symbolic event.
So here's where it gets really interesting for me. This past season gave me a very clear, very ordinary lesson in letting go.
Okay.
And it's centered around a holiday tradition I've carried for, nearly 2 decades now. Every December, I've tried to make this specific, rather fussy treat that my grandmother used to make.
Oh, wow. And we know those kinds of traditions aren't just about the recipe or the final product.
Not at all.
As you mentioned in your notes, they're such powerful vessels for memory, for continuity,
Right.
for that intergenerational connection.
They are.
They carry a tremendous emotional gravity.
They really do. It's not just food. It's continuity and love made edible.
Yeah.
And this year, I was so determined to do it right. I felt this intense, totally self-imposed pressure to make it exactly as she did, using the exact, really niche ingredients.
I can picture that.
I drove to one specialty shop across town, then another shop even farther away. I spent hours checking online forums.
Oh, my gosh.
I was standing in the aisles longer than necessary, just hoping that the exact specific thing I needed would somehow manifest if I just wanted it badly enough.
That level of determination and effort, that sounds exhausting. And the fact that you pursued it for so long, it just signals that the underlying mechanism was about so much more than the treat.
That was the moment of realization. I was standing there, totally empty-handed, with this tight, frustrated, and almost panicked feeling in my chest. And I suddenly saw the truth. I I wasn't trying to make a treat. I was desperately trying to preserve a feeling.
A feeling, yeah.
A feeling of safety and continuity that I associated with my grandmother's presence. I was trying to keep that version of the past from ending or from changing its form.
So the resistance wasn't really about finding the ingredient at all. The resistance was about accepting the reality of change.
Yes, sir.
You were expending a tremendous amount of energy just fighting reality.
I really was. And when I finally gave myself permission to stop searching, when I truly just threw up my hands and said, okay, this version is over, there was this wave of grief I hadn't expected.
Wow.
Not like dramatic, sobbing grief, but quiet grief. The kind that signals a chapter really is shifting and the world is moving
I have
on.
that feeling.
But the moment I let go of the need for that absolute perfect recreation,
Wow.
something just softened in my body. I made something else instead. It was simpler, just using what was available. It was different. But it was still made with care, and the love was still there.
And that's the profound takeaway for the learner here, isn't it? The underlying connection and love, they didn't disappear.
No.
They just changed form. You released the crippling need for perfection in how you did the ritual.
Yes.
Which allowed you to actually honor the underlying meaning, the connection, and the care. That release of expectation that became the clearing.
And that idea, it connects so beautifully to your story, which centered on releasing a very specific internal rule about obligation.
It did, yeah. My release came in a surprisingly ordinary moment when I received an unexpected gift from a family member.
Okay.
I hadn't planned for it. I hadn't bought anything in return. And the moment it was handed to me, that familiar tightening just showed up immediately.
Oh, I know that feeling.
It was that mental scrambling, the discomfort, the feeling of being behind or out of balance.
That is the instant internal reaction that just screams, I've done this wrong.
Exactly. The old story, that inherited, outdated rule, it kicked in so fast, I should have something of equal value to give back right now. This is awkward. I've inconvenienced them.
Cool.
I realized I was holding on to this outdated belief about exchange, that giving only counts if it's equal or matched or mirrored instantly.
Right.
That receiving without instantly returning something tangible is somehow selfish, or that it creates this emotional debt.
So how did you manage that tightening? How did you avoid that immediate impulse to just, apologize or justify?
Well, the shift came when I moved my focus off my own internal scorecard and just onto the other person. I looked at the giver, and they were genuinely delighted to give the gift. They looked happy just to watch me open it.
That's beautiful.
And I realized that the heavy burden of that old rule was simply the obligation to keep score, and this self-imposed requirement that I needed to perform gratitude, to scramble and apologize and promise repayment, instead of just allowing myself to feel and express it honestly.
That is a fundamental reframe of the entire concept of receiving.
It really is.
If you're busy trying to pay them back, you're missing the grace of the moment.
And the release was huge. I realized that by receiving the gift fully, by letting go of the internal apology and stopping that mental scrambling, I was actually giving something real back to them.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was giving them the pure, unadulterated experience of their gift landing, of their thoughtfulness being genuinely received and honored. I've released the obligation and, well, it created space for joy.
So connecting both of these anecdotes, we find this central synthesis for our listener. Often, what we truly release isn't a concrete object. It's not the recipe or the physical gift. It's a rule.
Yes. A rule we've been carrying long past its usefulness. A rule about perfection, a rule about balance, a rule about performance.
And that release, it doesn't feel empty.
No, it feels spacious. It feels like relief.
That feeling of relief and spaciousness, that brings us directly to the core teaching of our deep dive today. Clearing is an energetic detox.
Exactly.
Just as the body needs to release metabolic waste and toxins to function well, your energy system, which, includes your mind and your emotions, is always attempting to release its own kind of clutter.
And that clutter is made up of all those outdated beliefs, unresolved emotions, and protective patterns that they've just outlived their utility.
We often confuse those protective patterns with genuine safety, don't we?
All the time.
For instance, the protective pattern of always being the helper might have kept you safe from rejection 15 years ago.
Sure.
But holding onto that pattern today doesn't keep you safe. It just keeps you utterly exhausted and heavy.
The cost of carrying this accumulated clutter is just. It's substantial. In energetic terms, holding on to old emotional patterns creates this low-frequency drag on our system.
A drag, that's a great word for it.
And it influences our entire experience. So clearing those old patterns is necessary to create room for new energy and, possibility to resonate.
And the immediate result of this release is the creation of space. And this is the crucial point we really need to emphasize for you, the learner.
Yeah.
Space is not emptiness. When you set down a burden, the resulting space is possibility. It is room for new energy to move. What you don't carry forward matters just as much as what you do.
And this is where we can build that science and spirit bridge. For those of you who track the physiological realities, this connection is just critical. We have to understand the measurable how and why this energetic process physicalizes in our bodies.
And so let's look at the nervous system's role in all of this.
On a biological level, unprocessed emotional stress is not just a psychological state, it's a physiological activation. It activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the HPA axis, which we can kind of think of as the body's emergency response command center.
The command center, got it.
And when the HPA axis is running continuously, due to chronic stress or unresolved emotional history, cortisol and adrenaline are constantly elevated.
So the heaviness we were talking about energetically, the fatigue, the tightness, that's literally measurable as physical tension and hormonal stress.
Exactly. Your body is stuck in a state of high alert.
Wow.
That energy from unprocessed emotions is literally locked in the body. It manifests as chronic muscle tension, especially in the jaw, neck, shoulders, and chest.
I think we all know that feeling.
Oh, yeah. And it shortens the breath cycle, which further limits regulation. Modern trauma-informed practices, including frameworks like polyvagal theory and somatic experiencing, they really emphasize that this stress needs to be processed bottom up.
Can you elaborate on what bottom-up regulation means for our listeners?
Sure. It means that emotional release happens through the body first, not just through, cognitive explanation or trying to talk ourselves out of it.
Right.
The vagus nerve, which is a central component of the polyvagal system, it's the major highway for communication between the body and the brain.
Right.
So when we engage in conscious somatic practices, like the slow breathing and hand placement we'll try later on, we are literally signaling safety to the system. We are engaging the ventral vagal complex, which is the part of the nervous system responsible for feeling safe and grounded and socially engaged.
So the conscious decision to engage in a symbolic or emotional release practice is a physical, measurable signal to the body that says it is safe to rest now.
That's the tangible payoff. It supports parasympathetic regulation. It pulls the system out of that sympathetic fight-or-flight mode.
And when the nervous system settles?
The physical tension melts away, which is experienced as energetic lightness. The body literally unburdens itself.
And we integrate the spiritual or psychological side of this because, well, the psyche understands ceremony and closure.
It absolutely needs a definitive ending. Marking an ending through ritual, even small internal ones, allows the system to reorganize the stored data.
It makes me think of the critical studies done by Dr. James Pennebaker on expressive writing.
Exactly. He found that when people named and externalized their intense emotional events through writing, they actually reduced measurable stress markers.
And what specific markers are we talking about here? I mean, that's pretty amazing.
We're talking about quantifiable physiological changes. Things like reduced blood pressure, improved immune function, and even fewer doctor visits.
Wow.
The simple act of naming, acknowledging, and externalizing the emotion, the very essence of clearing, helps the mind integrate the experience rather than just keeping that trauma loop running in the background.
And this need for symbolic structure, it's universal, which explains why we find these cross-cultural rituals of release everywhere. Let's maybe look at the element of fire.
Fire is used in traditions globally, often in solstice ceremonies or grief rituals. And crucially, it symbolizes transformation, not destruction.
That's a really important distinction.
It is. You are not trying to destroy the memory of the past. You're using the heat to transform the heavy emotional energy that's attached to it. The energy it changes state.
And that idea aligns so beautifully with indigenous and earth-based traditions that use the composting metaphor.
Absolutely. The act of release is framed not as discarding trash, but as returning energy to the land to be transformed.
I love that.
What you release is turned into nourishment for what comes next. It ensures the cycle of preparation and creation remains whole. We're just participating in a natural, universal, seasonal cycle applied directly to our internal world.
Now that we understand the why, that this release signals safety to our nervous system and creates possibility, we need to move into the how. We are going to share some tools for a real-time experience, and we're going to move slowly. These can be done sitting, standing, even while taking a mindful walk. The goal here is presence, not perfection or drama.
And the source material reminds us that powerful shifts often happen in stillness. So we're inviting you to experience this gentle release with us right now.
Okay, let's begin with the body, because as we established, the body is always where release happens first. The purpose here is to somatically engage that bottom-up regulation.
So if you are in a space where it feels comfortable, we invite you to place one hand gently on your chest, perhaps over your heart space, and the other on your abdomen, right below your navel.
And this placement is strategic, right?
It is. It heightens interoception, or your awareness of internal bodily feelings, which is a key way to communicate with your vagus nerve. If hand placement is uncomfortable for you, that's okay. Just bring your focused attention to those areas instead.
Now just take a slow, conscious breath cycle. Inhale deeply through your nose, letting your abdomen softly expand under your hand. Feel the breath fill you entirely.
And exhale slowly, gently through your mouth. Allow the breath to soften your muscles as it leaves your body. Let the exhale be a little longer than the inhale.
Let's repeat that cycle 3 more times, just using the exhale as a signal to soften any tension. Inhale, safety. Exhale, release.
Now, without searching or forcing it, just bring to mind one specific thing you feel ready to release right now. Don't worry about tackling the biggest problem. Whatever surfaces first is enough.
It might be a limiting belief you've outgrown, or a heavy habit, an outdated role you keep playing.
Or the need to always be right.
Yes. Just hold that one thing gently in your awareness. Give it a silent name, like the perfectionist, or the scorecard, or the worry.
Now let's do a detailed body awareness check. Just notice where you physically feel the weight of this thing.
Is it a sharp knot in your stomach?
A heavy pressing in your chest, a tightness across your brow, a bracing in your shoulders.
Just acknowledge the exact location.
On your next slow, full exhale, we are going to use the symbolic release. Imagine the air leaving your body is carrying that tension out with it. Visualize loosening your grip on that burden, just a little.
If an image helps, you could picture placing the identified weight gently on the ground beside you. You are setting it down deliberately, not throwing it away in anger.
Or maybe, as the air moves past, you watch it dissolve into a harmless mist. You are handing it back to the universe, realizing you no longer need to carry its full weight.
Just stay with the breath for a few more seconds. Notice the sensation of setting it down. Perhaps the knot in your stomach softens a little bit. Perhaps your shoulders drop an inch. Just allow that quiet softening to occur.
And remember the science we discussed. This quiet, effective process is release at the nervous system level. It is highly effective. You are signaling to your deepest self that you are safe to rest.
Now, if you notice resistance show up, maybe a skeptical thought or a sudden tightening in your stomach, that is completely normal.
So normal.
Resistance often signals adjustment, not that you've done something wrong. Fear always shows up when you try to change an old protective pattern.
Which is why we need to walk through that protective layer gently with our next tool.
Instead of avoiding the fear or, trying to push it away, we are going to gently walk through it using self-inquiry. We want to acknowledge that protective layer that's signaling the alarm.
So here's the first of 3 questions. Just ask yourself honestly, what am I afraid would happen if I let this go?
And allow uncensored answers to surface. They are rarely logical.
Not at all.
They might sound like, if I stop being the fixer, people will leave me. Or, if I let go of this grief, I'll lose the memory of that person.
If I stop proving myself, I'll be disappointing and worthless. Just let the deepest, darkest fear land without any judgment.
I often catch myself thinking, if I stop worrying, I'll miss the warning sign.
Oh, that's a big one. It's amazing how we confuse worry with preparation.
It's so true. We cling to the very thing that makes us miserable because we believe it's holding the whole structure together.
Okay, so now ask the second question, and this one is crucial for creating mental space. Is this fear protecting my present adult self or a past younger version of me?
That question alone is an act of deep clearing.
It really is. It separates the current resourced adult self from the part of you that learned a survival mechanism when you were, less equipped. You're just checking to see if the technology is still relevant.
And if you discover it's protecting a younger self, a child or teenager, you can just gently affirm that part that they are safe now and that the adult can take over the job.
And now the third question, which acknowledges the gain. What tangible or emotional benefit do I gain by continuing to carry this?
Be honest. The answer might be comfort, predictability, familiarity, or a sense of control.
Right.
Acknowledge that motivation. You are not wrong for seeking those things, but simply notice if the protection is now costing you more than it provides.
And remember, fear doesn't need to disappear entirely for release to happen. It just needs to be acknowledged and understood. The light of recognition, it just burns through its power to control you.
Now that we've softened the physical grip and addressed the resistance, we're going to use the power of language to clarify the ending for your internal system.
Right.
Dr. Pennebaker's work showed us the power of naming. And the power of naming the release is that it sends a definitive signal of closure.
So you can say these silently or out loud. Feel free to repeat the ones that really resonate deeply and just skip the ones that don't. Let your intuition be your guide.
Recite these general phrases or just internalize them as truth. This belief system no longer belongs to me.
This repeating pattern of self-sabotage no longer belongs to me.
This expectation that others should fix me no longer belongs to me.
This obligation to please everyone in the room no longer belongs to me.
This outdated version of me, the one based on survival, no longer belongs to me.
And now, let's personalize it. We're filling in the blank with whatever specific items surface for you in Tool 1. Say or think. This need to fill in the blank, example, constantly apologize, get it perfect, carry this financial stress alone no longer belongs to me.
Take a breath after the statement.
Yeah.
Allow the words to land. Now do an integration check. Notice if your shoulders are still tight, if your jaw has softened, if there is a feeling of physical spaciousness.
That is your nervous system recognizing the truth you just spoke. You sent the signal and the body responded. And remember, release doesn't mean something disappears forever.
Right.
It means you stop carrying it unnecessarily. And that small shift is all the space that possibility needs to surface. Now we're moving into what we call debug mode.
I love this concept.
Yeah, we're just pausing to check the system. Not to judge or fix it, but to identify the background processes that are consuming massive amounts of energy.
The emotional clutter.
The emotional clutter that accumulates so quietly in our habits and tiny tensions.
It's about clearing that static, so the internal signal is pure. Debug mode requires a compassionate, investigative mindset. We're observing, not solving.
Right. Emotional clutter, it rarely announces itself loudly. It disguises itself as normal thinking or just the way things are.
Totally.
So we're going to run 4 diagnostic checks. Don't feel pressure to answer immediately. Just notice which questions activate an inner aha moment for you.
Okay, debug check 1. Immediate reactions.
Yeah.
Think about the last time you felt emotionally activated, whether it was by a minor inconvenience or a major conflict. Don't replay the story. Just focus on the intensity of your physical reaction.
And then ask yourself, did my reaction feel significantly bigger than the moment itself demanded?
If the answer is yes, it's highly likely that old energy got involved.
Oh, for sure.
The current moment just acted as a trigger for an unresolved past emotion. It piled onto the situation.
We have all been there. I know my personal old energy sounds like, seriously, are we doing this again? Why does this always happen to me? If you hear those phrases in your internal dialogue, or if you feel that disproportionate rush of anxiety or anger, you've just identified emotional clutter, something unresolved that's asking for release.
It's such a classic symptom. We mistake the intensity of the reaction for the importance of the event, when really it's the importance of the unprocessed memory that's attached to the event.
Okay, debug check 2. Repeating inner conversations. Now, check in with your thoughts. Are you constantly replaying a defense?
Or rehearsing an argument you should have had.
Justifying a choice you made 6 months ago?
If so, ask gently. What am I still trying to prove, protect, or prevent by running this conversation loop?
The clutter here is not the event itself, which is over. The clutter is the unfinished emotional business that's attached to it. Maybe you're trying to prove you were good enough. Maybe you're trying to prevent future failure. Recognition is already a powerful clearing act because it highlights where your energy is leaking.
That mental rehearsal is it's exhausting. The moment you recognize you're running on a loop, you can choose to step off the hamster wheel.
Debug check 3. Energy drain without obvious cause. Notice your energy levels throughout the day. Do you feel chronically tired even when you had sufficient physical rest?
Or do you feel heavy or bogged down without being able to name a physical reason?
This is a textbook sign of carrying invisible emotional weight, the clutter we discussed, which drains your resources like a background app running endlessly on your phone.
That's a great analogy.
If you could literally put your hands on that invisible weight and set it down, just ask, if I could set one invisible burden down right now, what would it be? And the answer might not be a major life event. It might just be the burden of expectation or the burden of perfectionism.
And debug check 4, resistance to change. This is a subtle but potent one.
It is.
Think about the future. Is there something you say you desperately want? A big life change, success in a specific area, deeper connection, but you find yourself resisting it or self-sabotaging right when it gets close.
That resistance is so often loyalty to an old protective identity, an identity that once kept you safe.
Can you give an example?
Sure, maybe you were the strong one in your family, and releasing that means admitting vulnerability. Or maybe you were the struggling artist, and allowing success means losing your sense of romantic martyrdom.
We cling to these labels because they give us structure and predictability, even if they make us miserable.
Right.
So ask, who would I no longer be if this changed? The fear is often less about the change itself and more about the loss of that familiar protective identity.
And you are allowed to thank that old identity for its long service, acknowledge how it kept you safe in the past, and then consciously release it, knowing that you are safe and capable of navigating the unknown now.
Yeah, just take a deep, settling breath. If one of these checks stood out for you, quietly name what you noticed, offering affirmation instead of judgment. Say silently, I see you, old pattern.
I don't need to carry you anymore.
You did your job, and now I am ready to reorganize.
Debug mode isn't about solving everything instantly. It's about regular, compassionate maintenance. As we identify the energy leaks, the system it recalibrates. And now we move into reflection, which is not analysis, but allowing deeper meaning to surface, linking back to that work on emotional integration.
We've stirred things up, and now we give everything a place to settle and integrate. These reflection prompts are like doorways into the deeper landscape, Let them move through you slowly, focusing on curiosity over pressure.
Start broadly. What feels heavy in your chest or shoulders right now? What piece of emotional armor feels too tight and outdated? What am I profoundly tired of carrying?
And if that immediate answer is elusive, you can try softening the question. What am I most afraid to release, and why? Let the tenderness of that fear be okay.
Next, explore the motivation. What do I believe this thing gives me? Does it give me safety, predictable control, a sense of righteous anger, an identity? There's no wrong answer here, only information about your core needs.
And crucially, what part of me has been holding this specific burden? Sometimes it's not you today, the adult, but a past version of you that learned how to survive a difficult environment.
Then ask that part gently. How old was I when I first learned to carry this? What was it protecting me from then? And then, gently, firmly, does it still need to do that now, today?
And finally, the possibility question. Who might I become? Or more accurately, how might I feel if I no longer carried this? Focus on the physical feeling. Lighter, open, spacious, fluid. That feeling is the direction of the new becoming. We're moving now from thought to pure, embodied experience. We invite you to transition with us and just assure you that you are doing this exactly as you should. We will use a calm, slow pacing to fully integrate this release at the deepest level.
And if it feels comfortable, allow your eyes to gently close. If not, just soften your gaze and bring your attention inward, focusing only on the sound of our voices.
Take a slow, full breath in through the nose. Let your diaphragm drop and your abdomen expand.
And a long, gentle sigh out through the mouth. Release any tension you are aware of. Again, inhale fully.
Exhale completely. There's nowhere you need to go right now, nothing to achieve. Just follow the rhythm of your breath.
Imagine yourself standing in a quiet, still winter landscape. This place is deeply calm. The air is crisp and clean against your skin. The light is soft and muted, perhaps just before sunrise. Like the whole world is resting and gathering its resources.
Now notice what is beneath your feet. Feel the solid ground. You are safe and supported here, rooted in this moment.
Now notice your hands. You are holding something. You don't need to force an image, just allow it to simply reveal itself as a symbol of what you are actually ready to release right now.
It might appear as a heavy stone, a tangled bundle of threads, an old folded map, or perhaps just a feeling of tightness focused in your chest.
This is the weight you identified in debug mode. Take a moment to notice its qualities. How heavy does it feel in your hands? Is it rough or smooth? Does it feel warm from familiarity or cool and alien? There is no judgment here.
Now acknowledge its past purpose. This thing once helped you survive or navigate a difficult time. Silently offer this deep acknowledgement. Thank you for what you gave me. You helped me survive, and you served me when I needed you most.
Now look ahead. You see a small clearing in the landscape. It is open, spacious, and completely neutral. A designated place of transformation.
When you are truly ready, begin to walk toward it. Feel yourself becoming a little lighter with each step. Your posture shifts, your breath deepens. You are choosing to set the burden down.
When you reach the center of the clearing, stop. This is the moment of release. Do not rush it. Allow the process to be gentle and decisive.
When it feels right in your body, gently place what you are holding onto the ground. You are not discarding it in shame, you are returning its energy.
Watch as the earth receives it easily, without resistance. Nothing is wasted here. The energy you release is now available to be composted and transformed into nourishment for what comes next in your life cycle.
Take a long, slow breath. Notice your hands now. Notice the absolute absence of that weight. Feel your shoulders soften away from your ears. Feel your jaw unclench. Allow the relief to be welcome, even if it is quiet.
Now notice the space inside you where that weight once lived. This space is not empty or void. It is open. It feels like possibility. It feels like quiet competence. It feels like room for your true breath to move.
Imagine this newly created space, gently filling with warmth, or light, or calm, whatever feels most supportive to your system right now. Simply allow the space to be. Allow yourself to be unburdened.
Take one final look around the clearing. This is the energy you are stepping forward with. Unforced, unburdened, aligned. When you are ready, slowly bring your awareness back to the room.
Wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a final settling breath. When it feels right, open your eyes. That was a deep and, I think, a necessary journey. We started by recognizing that profound release often shows up in the most ordinary moments. In outgrowing a tradition we tried to perfect, and in learning how to receive grace without keeping a transactional scorecard.
We explored clearing not as some mystical concept, but as an energetic detox, a way the body, mind, and spirit naturally prepare for what's next by supporting nervous system regulation and integration, drawing on real science like the polyvagal theory and the work of Dr. Pennebaker.
And we use debug mode not to judge ourselves, but to compassionately notice what has been quietly running in the background, consuming our resources, hidden in those outdated rules and resistance to change.
And through all of this exploration, we arrive at the single distilled truth that the source material demands we carry forward. You cannot carry old energy into a new becoming.
It is the ultimate boundary, and it's such a powerful realization. You are not failing when you release something. You are engaging in a necessary act of preparation.
Growth requires space, and that spaciousness begins with the conscious, gentle act of release. We really encourage you to travel lighter. Choose one pattern, one belief, or one attachment that surfaced today. Just one to consciously name, acknowledge, and set down this week. That single release is enough to fundamentally shift your entire energetic field.
You are allowed to trust what you are ready to become.
So, as our final thought for you, if the idea of letting go still feels scary, like it's a loss, what might happen if you shifted your focus entirely? Stop thinking about the letting go and focus only on the new feeling of the space that was created.
Focus on the lightness. Focus on the openness. You are allowed to trust what you are ready to become, even if you don't know exactly what the future looks like yet. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the energetic clearing.
May you travel lighter.
And may what you no longer carry make room for something gentler, truer, and far more aligned. We hope you join us again soon.